there are some few points that we need to take care of if. Let me show you that. Here, when you try to see line number 4, you can see that we are passing some number in place of condition. What does this means? So as I said previously in one of the video, except 0, any number is considered as true. Keep that in mind. This concept will be repeated again and again. So keep this point in mind. Except 0, any number or any string or anything is considered to be true except 0. When you try to see here what we are trying to do, we are passing a number true. As I said, by default this 2 is considered to be true by the Python virtual machine. So that's the reason this statement is executed to be true. So whenever this is true, automatically the lines which are inside the if block are executed. Which is the line which is inside the if block? Here we can see that this line is inside the if block because it is following some indentation. And we can see that if is printed here. We can see this output is coming here, right? Because except 0, anything is true. There is one more point that we need to discuss. Please look at this line. Here in this line, we can see that we are passing the Boolean value true in place of condition. Why? Because at the end, if you want to evaluate a condition, what will you get? Either true or false, right? At the end, the main aim of evaluating a condition is to whether the condition is true or false. This is what we want to achieve, right? So instead of passing the condition, we are directly passing this Boolean value that we want to achieve. So it is fine, right? Because at the end you are achieving this and you are directly passing that. That's fine, right? So whenever you pass true here, the statements inside the if block will automatically execute it instead of any checking the condition, because by default you pass it the true, right? So here when you try to observe this line, we are writing the statement right here. Instead of writing like this, we are writing this print statement right here and it is executed. You can see this output, right? It is executed. How? So there is one small thing. If you want to execute a single statement once after the evaluating the condition, then you can write the statement like this in single line. Here you can see that instead of writing this thing in 2 lines, we have used 2 lines, right? You can write the same thing in the single line like this. So this is how we can write single line statements, but it is more preferable to use 2 lines because it follows some kind of indentation, some set of rules which makes code readable. But this makes code unreadable, but it is pretty good in reducing number of lines. So it is better to use this kind of thing. So, okay, this is the concept that we need to talk about if. Let us try to understand what is if else with these following examples. So firstly, the syntax of the else is nothing but just a keyword else and then the colon which indicates beginning of the block and then some statements which are following some kind of indentation for this else block. Let us try to see this first part, okay? Here this else is a keyword and this colon indicates beginning of the block. There is no condition that we are evaluating here, then why else? So the else is used to do this thing. Here in this if, we check a condition, right? And there are some set of statements. This is the thing that we are going to do. With some indentation, we are trying to check some conditions, right? So if this condition is true in the if, we will execute these statements. If this condition is false, we don't execute these statements. This is the thing that we are doing till now. What if you want to do something like this? Let me show you in this example. So here in this example, we can see that we have initialized a value 10 to the variable a value 20 to the variable b. Here what you are trying to do, you are checking the condition, right? The condition says that 10 greater than 20, which is false. Whenever this is false, what will happen? This statement which is inside the if block because of this indentation is not executed. This is what we know till now. Let us try to see what else is doing here. This else is saying to print some statement called by. You can see the output is by. This else got executed. Here when you try to see, this condition of the if is false and this statement is not executed. That's fine. But when you try to observe, a statement which is inside the else is executed here and the output is printed. So by this you can easily understand, I guess. Let me tell you how it works. If the condition here is false, the if is not executed, but automatically the else will be executed by the Python virtual machine. So keep that in mind. Whenever the condition inside the if is false, automatically the statements which are present in the else block are executed. So keep this in mind. What if the condition is true now? The condition is true, obviously the first statement has to be executed. This high has to be executed. And this else, what about this else then? Here let us try to see that in another example. Here in this line number 6, we can see that we are assigning same value 12 to variable A and variable B. And then what you are trying to check? We are trying to check A double equal to B. Obviously, the 12 double equal to 12 is true, right? Automatically, the statements which are inside the if block should be executed. When you try to see, the statement that is inside the if block is print equal. So the equal statement is executed. But when you try to observe, the else statement that is not equal is not executed. From this, we can understand that whenever the condition is true, the else statement, the statements inside the else are not executed. But in the previous case, whenever this condition is false, we can see that the statements inside the else are executed. From this, we can understand that whenever the condition inside the if is true, the statements inside the if are executed. If the condition is false, then automatically the statements inside the else are executed. So this is how if else works. So this is similar to our life, right? If I got 100 out of 100, I will get a cake. Else, I will get punishment. When you try to observe here, if I get 100 out of 100, this is the condition. If this is true, the statement inside the if block, that is getting a cake, is executed. If this is false, then I will automatically get the punishment, right? So to mention that, to mention such kind of things, if something is not happened, then what will happen? To mention such kind of things, we use else. This is how if else works.